Hello and welcome to Theme Park Worldwide, where it's going to be the hottest day of the year so far. We've got temperatures of up to 27 degrees Celsius today. So I've made my way here to my local park, the Alton Towers Resort. And there's actually quite a few changes that have happened here over the past few days that I'm going to update you on. Now, quite a lot of you have been noticing how busy Alton Towers has actually been, even on the weekdays during term time. So I'm going to have a walk around the park, check out the queue times. It's a Wednesday today. The kids are at school, but yeah, it's quite a busy day down here. Lots of people making their way in down Tower Street from the entrance plaza. There was queuing traffic coming in. It's also the return of school trips now as well. Quite a few coaches have arrived over on the coach park here at Alton Towers. So yeah, it certainly feels like, you know, it's a lot busier than it has been for a very long time, especially since the pandemic started and on these weekdays. So I know a lot of people have been saying, you know, you want to see some updates and how busy is the park, especially on a weekday. That's what this video is also going to be about. Along with that, they've also increased the capacity on some of the rides here at the park. Rides like Wicker Man and 13 are now loading many more rows. So we're going to be checking out that and seeing exactly what's happened with these changes here at the resort over the past few days. So come and join me. It's going to be a hot one, but we'll make the most of it here in the sunshine at the Alton Towers Resort and bring you lots of updates. The frog fountains always look amazing when the sun is shining, especially after the repaint that they did on them over the winter period. But yes, of course, Alton Towers Mardi Gras is in its final few days now. That ends this Sunday, the 20th of June. Started back on the 22nd of May. And yeah, it's been a really successful event for them here at the resort. Lots of entertainment, all the different food options. It's been a really good success. If you haven't already, check out our vlog that we uploaded a few weeks ago, checking out everything from Mardi Gras. Well, this is a sight that we haven't seen since 2019. Full trains once again on Wicker Man, the park's Great Coasters International wooden roller coaster that opened here at the resort back in 2018. But yes, all rows on Wicker Man are now being loaded for the first time since the pandemic started. Now, of course, this does mean that it will increase the capacity of the ride again. It'll be running at full capacity. Wicker Man runs 3 trains, and yeah, as we can see, all rows are filled. Here's Big Bob just over here, of course, the Wicker Man structure. So what was happening before is a row was being left in between parties on this ride, of course, to maintain social distancing on the ride. But yeah, you still got a distance in the queue line, but on the ride, all rows are now being filled. Now, of course, this has meant that the queue time for Wicker Man is a lot less than it has been. It's actually only advertised at 40 minutes. Now, even on these weekdays, up until, well, a few days ago when they changed this, Wicker Man was getting way over an hour queue, mostly around 90 minutes, even on the weekdays. As you can see, we're an hour and a half into the day here at Alton Towers now, just approaching 11:30. And yeah, Wicker Man only advertised there at 40 minutes over on the board, which isn't bad at all for this fantastic wooden coaster. So increasing the capacity of the ride is certainly going to help reduce the queue times. But yeah, for the first time since 2019, Wicker Man back on full capacity. So up here now in Gatanga Canyon, the Congo River Rapids are still running with 1 party per boat. However, over here at the Runaway Mine Train, as we can see, it's now a full choo-choo train just over there. Again, they were leaving rows in between parties, but yeah, now full capacity again on the Mack Rides powered coaster, of course, that's been here at Alton Towers in Gatanga Canyon since 1992. Now, of course, the capacity may have increased on the rides, but you do still need to wear a face covering on most of the rides here at Alton Towers. The Congo River Rapids, you don't need to wear them, but other than that, most attractions, you are required to wear them. And of course, with you sitting now directly next to other people, it's really important that you keep your face masks on. Well, there was a walk-on queue for the Runaway Mine Train, so yeah, again, it's certainly helping reduce the wait times, because that's a very popular family roller coaster. Tell you what, isn't it a family coaster though? Nemesis! Oh, down here, of course, in Forbidden Valley. Of course, just walked up past Jewel. Jewel had a 0-minute wait. With that ride, it's pretty high capacity anyway with Jewel. But yeah, it's just 1 party per vehicle on there. They can seat up to 5. Down here then at Nemesis now, let's take a look at what's going on here. We've got an advertised wait time of, just wait for the screen to change, 30 minutes. Yeah, we're just up the top ramp there, round a little bit at the top. Yeah, still very busy though, isn't it, for a weekday term time? But like I say, school trips are now back here at Alton Towers, so that's certainly having an impact on these what were quieter weekdays. Oh, it's always good to see Nemesis running, especially on a nice hot day like today. She's a beast, isn't she? Now with Nemesis, no changes to the capacity, still running 2 trains. They are filling every row like they have been, of course, since Alton Towers reopened. However, it is only 1 party per row. Now, on rides like Wicker Man, the reason they were leaving rows is because the seats were very close together on them rows. With a ride like Nemesis, of course, you've already got more than a metre plus gap between the rows. So yeah, they are filling them up. However, it is 1 party per row. So if there's 4 of you, then yeah, of course, you'll all sit together on 1 row. If there's only 2 of you, then yeah, you know, you'll have a whole row of what would normally seat 4 just for the 2 of you. If you're a single rider, you can actually ride with another single rider, of course, on either end seat, leaving 2 in the middle. So yeah, with Nemesis, it's still not running back to full capacity, but it certainly hasn't been as big of an issue as the likes of Wicker Man, and especially 13. They're the rides that have been really affected by the reduced capacity. But yeah, good to see Nemesis. 30-minute wait. I still think it's well worth that. Down here now then at Galactica, of course the park's B&M flying coaster. They originally opened in 2002 as Air. Oh, blimey, these rides look amazing in the sunshine, don't they? I wish we had weather like this all the time. Honestly, I love it. But yeah, with Galactica, the same situation as with Nemesis, really. So yeah, with this, of course, there's an adequate gap between rows. It's 1 party still per row, but every row has got riders on. So again, if there's 2 of you, you'll get a whole row to yourself. So yeah, it's got a 40-minute advertised wait time. It doesn't feel too busy down here in Forbidden Valley. Honestly, my advice for if you're coming to Alton Towers, come down to Forbidden Valley first or Dark Forest. Don't go to XSector and don't go to Wicker Man unless you literally arrive an hour before opening. You know, you've got time to be first in the queue. You want to get down here, you can get these rides done pretty quick down here. If you're here for 10 o'clock and come down here, you'll find Nemesis and Galactica are both walk-on. But yeah, 40-minute wait. Running 3 craft, I believe, on there. So I'll have a little look up here at the flat rides. Of course, you've got the Blade and also one of the temporary rides up here as well, Funk and Fly. Starting off then with the Blade just over there. As you can see, they're actually still leaving gaps in between the rows on there, which is quite interesting because they are very close, but yeah, no closer than that of Wicker Man, so that's quite interesting. But yeah, in terms of the wait time, 5 minutes for that. If we zoom out a little bit more and pan round here to the left-hand side, Funk and Fly, of course, one of the 3 Retro Squad rides. Yeah, this has got about a 5-minute wait too. It's literally just round the corner there. Most of them people are probably going to get on this next cycle here. So we've covered this side of the park. I'm now going to walk over to Dark Forest and take a look over there at the queues and also share some updates about 13 and the changes that they've made on there over the past few days. But yeah, walking over to Dark Forest, A, because I wanted to get some shade, and B, the Sky Ride's actually closed because it's too hot. So what happens is they check the temperatures inside the gondolas, and if it's too hot, then yeah, they can't open it because there's no air conditioning or anything like that. There is windows that open, but it's nowhere near enough to get the breeze in. It'll be okay for the short trips, but you've got to think in terms of if there was a ride stoppage and you were left hanging up there in a gondola for, I don't know, 15-20 minutes or even longer than that if something went wrong, then of course, yeah, you know, you need to make sure that you know, you can still breathe and you've got some air. So yeah, they don't open it on the really hot days like today. So we'll walk over to Dark Forest, but blimey, it is hot. Now, something that you don't need to queue for here at Alton Towers are the absolutely stunning gardens, and this is my favourite time of year down here on these lovely hot days because there's so much shade, and then of course you get to appreciate all of the different buildings, like the pagoda fountain just here that is spectacular, turned on for all to see, and honestly it looks just as majestic as ever, doesn't it? It only takes about 10 minutes to walk from Forbidden Valley over here to Dark Forest. Of course, you've got roller disco just over here, the waltzers. Looks great with all the lighting, doesn't it? Only about a 5-minute wait, if that. Everybody waiting will be on the next cycle over there. Over here then now at Rita. Of course, used to be known as the Queen of Speed when it opened here in 2005. Now just known, of course, as Rita. Advertised wait time of 50 minutes for Rita. Now, of course, it does run 2 trains. In terms of the capacity on here, all rows are being filled, as we can see there for all the riders. Yeah, because you've got the high seat backs on there as well. So yeah, we'll go and have a little look over at 13 now. Oh, it's a gorgeous day here at Alton Towers. Perfect day, just walking around, catching some rays. It is wonderful, it really is. But have you ever wondered why Alton Towers is called Rita? Well, the reason is, if you turn the letters backwards, it stands for Alton Towers Intamin Rocket, as in a rocket coaster that launches off. There you go, fun little fact for you. Right, let's talk all about 13. So with 13, there's a little bit more to go into with this. Now, when Alton Towers reopened last summer for the first time after the pandemic started, 13 was kept closed. And that was because they were working out exactly what to do, because they needed to social distance on the rides. However, with 13, you actually needed a minimum amount of riders on the train, so it was the correct weight to safely make it around the circuit. So what Alton Towers did to combat that was actually add water dummies, 6 water dummies to the back of the trains. Now, this meant that, of course, there'd be the right amount of weight on the train so that it could send around the track and, of course, return back to the station safely. Now, what's been happening since last summer is there's actually been not many riders at all on 13. But as you can see now, all rows, other than the ones with the water dummies at the back, are now filled, which means that the ride can now seat up to 14. Normally, it could seat 20. There's 3 trains that run on 13, so the capacity was normally really good. So the good news is, of course, that they're filling up them other rows on there now. There was some rides where literally there would be 8 riders and the water dummies at the back, and that would be all. So that's why the queue's been really big for 13. So 70 minutes doesn't actually seem too bad now. Like, that's quite low compared to what it was even up until a few days ago. That ride's been getting up to 3-hour waits on some of the busier days. So yeah, it certainly helps the situation, filling them up. But of course, now they're not doing social distancing on most of the rides, such as Wicker Man, as we've seen. With 13, could we maybe expect the water dummies to be removed soon? I think we could do. I mean, you've got to think, with them water dummies, now there's not really any point to them. The ride ran perfectly before that without the water dummies. They were just there to make sure that mainly on the quieter days or on a morning when there's not that many people around, that they could still send the trains out safely. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. Now they're not distancing on some of the other rides, I think we could see the water dummies removed from 13 pretty soon. So of course, it's not just a matter of taking them out. There's got to be a lot of you know, safety checks and stuff done again to make sure that it's going to be fine. But yeah, I can't see them staying there for much longer. But the good news is with 13, it's back up in capacity, still not to you know, full 20 riders per train, and of course with the 3 trains, but up to 14 now per train is certainly a lot better than what it was doing before, sometimes just 8 riders. So it's actually been a month now since the World of David Walliams opened to guests here at the Alton Towers Resort. And yeah, Gangsta Granny the ride, of course, that brand new dark ride, has been proving to be very popular with some very busy queues, especially during the half term and also at weekends. In terms of the flat rides up here, though, on a weekday, seems to be pretty quiet. Flavio's Fabulous Fandango just here, the Sizzler ride, that's got a walk-on queue. Same with the Royal Carousel just over there, and also with Raj's Bouncy Bottom Burp just over there. And in terms of Gangsta Granny the ride, that also doesn't seem to be too bad. So on the official Alton Towers app just here, you can see Gangsta Granny is advertised at 50 minutes. The app is well worth downloading when you come into Alton Towers. Of course, shows you all the different queue times. I mean, that's on the family section. If we go over onto Thrill Rides just here, gives you a good idea on them queue times. And of course, you get the map on there as well, showing you around, mobile food ordering, show times, and so much more. Yeah, they're advertising it 50 minutes for Gangsta Granny. Not too bad for a new ride. I think that's actually overestimated quite a bit, because yeah, you can see just here loads of this queue line is empty. We waited from there about 30 minutes the other day. So yeah, I don't think it's 50. If you see it kind of where them people are, just underneath the sign, normally about 30 minutes. But of course, it all depends on how many people are coming up the ride access queue as well. But yeah, not too bad for, you know, a brand new ride. It's definitely worth coming here later in the day though, because it gets really quiet towards the end. Not forgetting, of course, you got the Cuckoo Cars driving school down here as well. Not officially part of the World of David Walliams, even though there's nothing really to divide them. Yeah, it is classed as its own area as part of the Towers, with Hex and also Fountain Square coming into that as well. So up next, we're going to head round towards XSector, and let's talk about The Smiler, Oblivion, Mixtape, and Enterprise. Can't forget Enterprise. So Hex, the Legend of the Towers, might look quite busy with all the queue line just out here, but it's worth remembering that there's no queuing inside the building still at the moment. So this is actually only about a 15-minute wait. That's what they're also advertising on the app. And the other day it took less than that, and we waited a little bit longer than it is now. So yeah, less than 15 minutes for Hex. It might look really busy, but don't be put off by that. I know normally you've got all the interior queuing, but at the moment that isn't the case. You're walking pretty much straight down to the pre-show for Hex. So yeah, it means you get to queue out in the nice sunshine. I can't believe it, the sun's shining, we're in the middle of June and the Towers ruins are still open to walk around. Like, we're being treated to luxury this season, aren't we? All of these events that they've got for us, all the extra food available at the park, longer opening hours, and yeah, the Towers ruins are still being available, actually in the summer, not being closed yet, ready for Scarefest. I can't believe it, it's great. But yeah, in all seriousness, it's really good to see. Hopefully they'll stay open for the remainder of the summer, I'd like to think so. Like I say, the ruins always used to close traditionally the 1st of September, so yeah, we'll see what happens this year. I did a full tour the other week of the Towers ruins, sharing lots of history, so check it out if you've not already seen it. Oh, it was a good video. Well, over in XSector, the Smiler is proving to be just as popular as ever this season. It's still the only roller coaster in the world to feature 14 inversions. How long for though? We're not too sure, but here we go. As you can see over on the Smiler, they're now actually filling up the trains. So yeah, 2 will be asked to join another 2 to fill the trains over on the Smiler, back to up to 16 riders per train on there now, which is really interesting. The fact that, you know, over on Galactica, Nemesis, you know, they're still leaving the gaps, whereas on here, then now, yeah, you can sit right next to other people. Of course, face coverings are still required on the rides, but I'd just love to know the logic behind it, you know, especially the fact that Nemesis and Galactica, it's still only if you're a group of 2, you know, you're going to have a row to yourself, even if it can accommodate 4, whereas on the Smiler, you'll now get joined up with another 2. I find it really interesting. Like I say, I'd love to know the logic behind it, but it's certainly going to help with the queue times now. The Smiler's advertised still at 80 minutes, but again, that's nothing compared to some of the queues that it has been getting over the past couple of months since the park reopened in April. It feels so strange seeing full trains on things again. But here's a sign that we're returning to some form of normality again now. And of course it's great for if you're visiting, because the queue times are going to be less than they were. The Smiler, people have been waiting again up to 3 hours for this coaster. And to see it on 80 minutes, yes, it's still a long queue, especially for a term time weekday when the kids are at school. It is still busy, but yeah, just seeing them trains filled up again, it does make me happy just to think that, you know, these rides are now running back at their capacity. And it means that if you come in here, you're going to have a much better day now. You're going to get on more attractions. And of course, that's the main thing, isn't it, when you come into the parks? Well, Mixtape has got a 10-minute queue and Enterprise only a 5-minute queue down here in XSector. These rides are doing exactly what Alton Towers wanted them to do. They're helping with the capacity in the areas. And they've been a really big success for this year here at Alton Towers. So I'm hoping that, you know, we have some more permanent flats coming in the near future. As much as funfair rides, I don't think work at Alton Towers. For this season, it's fine, especially as a temporary measure. But now that capacity is starting to be increased again on a lot of the other rides, as we've seen in this video, then yeah, you are going to see some of the filler rides being even quieter too, because the queues for some of the bigger coasters are going to be less than they were before. Just looking at that mist there on such a hot day makes me think, oh, I want to go on Oblivion. And then you think, oh, it's a 55-minute queue. And yeah, it's quite a long wait, isn't it? Especially for a weekday. But yeah, over on Oblivion, as you can see, with the shuttles, they are actually still leaving gaps in between the riders. Which again seems very interesting, the fact that especially on the Smiler, well, and Wicker Man and 13, the fact that, you know, they're now filling them up, seems really interesting how they're still leaving the gaps here on Oblivion. It's the 3 B&M coasters, the Bolliger and Mabillard coasters here at the park, of course Galactica, Nemesis and Oblivion here, that are all still leaving them. So I don't think it is anything to do with the manufacturer, but you never know, you know, with these things. I think it's more a park decision, obviously, but I don't think it's going to be long until we're seeing full trains, or in Oblivion's case, full shuttles going around the tracks again soon. Just had a look then over in Mutiny Bay. The 3 rides over there are all walk-on, including Battle Galleons, the Splash Battle. With it being the hottest day of the year, I thought it might have had quite a queue, but no, it's walk-on. Along with that, Hippo and Marauders Mayhem are also very quiet with walk-on queues. If you haven't guessed already, spinning and whizzing, go and look at Spinball Whizzer now. Well, surprisingly, it's only a 20-minute advertised wait for Spinball Whizzer. It is common knowledge, though, with this ride, not to do it at the start or end of the day. You've got to come here kind of in the middle of the day, and it's just gone 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and yeah, it's much quieter now. So yeah, never come here first, never come here last. Do it in the middle of the day with Spinball Whizzer. But yeah, 20-minute advertised wait, as you can see over there. On this ride, you still can't go on it if you're a single rider. So me here today on my own, I couldn't go on Spinball Whizzer. You know, you've got to have at least 2 of you to ride. So hopefully that will change again soon at some point. But yeah, that's all for your updates from the bigger rides. Gonna have a quick walk around CBeebies Land now and just see what the queues are like in there. What I would call moderate queues really around CBeebies Land. Busiest rides down there, as always, the Octonauts Roller Coaster Adventure. That's got an advertised 30-minute wait. Along with that as well, in the Night Garden Magical Boat Ride, that's got a 25-minute advertised wait. So they're normally the busiest rides down there in CBeebies. But if you're a family and you're coming here on a day like today, you shouldn't be too bad in there, and you should definitely leave it until the end of the day, in my opinion, to make the most of your day here at the park. And of course, if you've got little ones, I'd recommend coming a little bit later. You know, come in this sort of time now. Tower Street's quiet, you'll get parked up easy, straight in on the monorail, no queues, and then go into CBeebies and stay till later on, instead of getting here dead opening for early. You know, that only applies for CBeebies Land, but that's my best advice for you. But that's all we've learnt loads today. Lots of updates here at Alton Towers. Not been for over a week, because obviously I've been up in Scotland. So yeah, it's been nice to come see the updates, and these changes have only just come in over the past few days, and it's good to see more of an increased capacity here. I know some people might feel like, well, hang on a minute, we've been doing all this social distancing for so long, you know, they don't really feel comfortable sitting next to someone. I'm not too sure if you spoke to a member of staff and said, look, I don't want somebody sitting next to me, what the situation would be. But as it stands now, they are, you know, filling up these trains on most of the rides, which, you know, I am a fan of. I think that's great, because if you come in here, you're going to get more rides done, but I can understand how somebody might not feel comfortable with that. So I'm not sure how it stands in regards to, you know, if you said to the ride host, look, I don't want somebody sitting next to me, what they would do. But there you go. Thanks for joining me here at Alton Towers. Nice update vlog for you today. Queue times. If you're coming down here over the last few days of Mardi Gras, have an incredible time. And if you're coming over the next few weeks, enjoy yourselves here at Alton Towers. It is busy midweek, as you've seen today, but school trips are back. That's probably why we're seeing bigger queues, but at least capacity has been increased on some of the rides. Thanks for joining me here from Alton Towers. Last visit now during Mardi Gras, so next time we're here, all the wonderful decorations will be gone, but it won't be too long until the start of the summer event here that we're looking forward to. So that leaves me with one final thing to say. Get out there and keep on riding. See you in the next video.